A grizzly sow mauled 3 teens hiking near Eagle River. How they're doing and what's next for the bear.
Man opens fire during a congressional baseball practice, wounding 5. Hear reaction from Alaska lawmakers.
We are headed to a budget which reduces the people's PFD. And to this, Mr. Speaker, I say not only no, but hell no.
It might be a Hail Mary from the House. How a vote today is complicating negotiations on a budget.
And now, from KTVA 11 News, this is First Take at 5.
Good evening, I'm Joe Vigil. A lot of people talking about this today. A grizzly sow with cubs attacked a group of teens hiking near the Eagle River campground today. 3 of the 4 teens suffered bites and claw marks, but amazingly, it sounds like they all should be okay. KTVA 11's Bonnie Bowman is live from the campground with the story. Bonnie.
Well, Joe, there are signs like this one posted all around the campground, warning people to be cautious of bear activity. Now, we have talked to some campers who told us they are on edge tonight, but also grateful the teens' injuries weren't worse. One of the teens called police just after noon. The 4 became separated during the attack. Around 30 units responded from Anchorage Police, Fire, and the Park Service. They used sirens and shouted until they could find the teens and bring them to safety. Now, while searching, the sow charged 2 APD officers who shot at it with a shotgun. They don't think they hit it, and Fish and Game biologists searched the woods for the bear, hoping to assess its behavior. Now, they couldn't find it, but what they want to know is if it was just surprised and attacked to protect its cubs, or if it's an aggressive problem bear.
If it's a one-time type of thing, they may let it go ahead and take off into the wilderness, and hopefully we won't see or hear from it again. If they determine there are signs of aggression, it's bluff charging them or charging them, they might decide to take the sow.
Now, if the bear shows up again acting aggressively and Fish and Game has to put it down, they say they will either capture the cubs or leave them be, just depending on their age and if they can survive on their own. Now, Fish and Game, of course, warning people to be extra cautious if they are hiking or camping in this area. In fact, a black bear has been seen in this campground in the hours since the attack. So another bear roaming around this area. We haven't seen it, but we've been told by several people that it is here. So bear activity very high in this area right now. Joe?
All right, good to know. Bonnie Bowman live in Eagle River tonight. A woman accused of abandoning her baby in 2013 was set to make a plea deal in court today on a manslaughter charge, but it didn't happen. Ashley Ard was an Alaska-based soldier when police say she gave birth at home, then left the baby in an Eagle River park. That baby died. Well, today she planned to change her not guilty plea, but there was confusion between attorneys about the range of punishment. The defense attorney said Ard wanted to change her plea based on a 3 to 6 year sentencing range laid out in SB 91. But the assistant district attorney said aggravating factors in the case would boost the minimum sentence to 5 years. A new court date is set for August 31st. Alaska's delegation is reacting to an attack during a congressional charity baseball game practice that put 5 people in the hospital. Police say 66-year-old James Hutchinson opened fire while Republicans were practicing. Of those injured, House Majority Whip Steve Scalise of Louisiana was shot in the hip. He was rushed to the hospital where he had surgery and is in critical condition. Capitol Police returned fire, killing Hutchinson. President Trump spoke from the White House.
Many lives would have been lost if not for the heroic actions of the 2 Capitol Police officers who took down the gunman despite sustaining gunshot wounds during a very, very brutal assault.
Alaska Congressman Don Young said in a statement that he was praying for those involved, saying that this was important to not let these acts of violence win the day. He also thanked Capitol Police and said we must be vigilant and continue the important work of the American people. On Facebook, Senator Lisa Murkowski said she was saddened and horrified to hear about the shooting at the congressional baseball practice this morning. I know this has shaken many on Capitol Hill. Praying for the injured, witnesses, and all of those impacted. Thank you to all the brave souls, including the Capitol Police, who jumped into action. We are forever grateful for you. Senator Dan Sullivan said law enforcement officers across the country, including Capitol Police, stand on duty 24/7, ready to sacrifice for others, as we saw today. We are all grateful for their courage, praying for a speedy recovery for Congressman Scalise and the other victims. Lawmakers say the game will go on as planned tomorrow, and you can hear more about this story coming up tonight on the CBS Evening News. Well, today the Alaska House voted to pay out a more than $2,000 dividend this year. The decision came as part of discussions on the state's capital budget. KTVA 11's Liz Raines joins us live from Juneau. So, Liz, the big question is, will this stick?
No, Joe, it doesn't look likely. In fact, discussions on the capital budget are still ongoing here in the House. This was a surprise vote, even for many of its members. Both the House and Senate have passed versions of a bill that would have reduced this year's dividend to the tune of about $1,000. But today, House Rules Chair Gabrielle Ledoux made the motion to reverse that cut. She says lawmakers should not pass a budget that decreases permanent fund dividend checks for Alaskans unless it also approves a multi-pronged fiscal plan.
At this point, it looks like we may be leaving this building with only a budget and without a comprehensive plan, including, most importantly, revisions to oil taxes.
But Senate President Pete Kelly says he believes it's a sign of desperation from the House to get an income tax, and that the House probably wants to increase the budget so much that it's the only way to afford it is by passing a tax.
I don't think it's much more complicated than that, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and continue to negotiate as long as we can.
Governor Bill Walker responded to the House vote today in a statement saying, quote, "We are working toward a fiscal plan compromise that closes or reduces the $2.8 billion deficit and ensuring government services continue after July 1st. In doing so, there will be actions that do not align with the full fiscal plan I proposed. In the coming days and weeks, if necessary, my team and I will continue to work with the House and Senate toward a compromise plan and passage of a budget." Joe?
So, Liz, it sounds like things could go longer than Friday's deadline.
That's looking likely. This move by the House today appears to have complicated negotiations between the two bodies. Joe, back to you.
All right, that's Liz Raines live in Juneau tonight. Well, from birth certificates to opioid response, the Alaska Department of Health and Social Services is working to determine the impact of a potential government shutdown if a budget is not passed by July 1st. KTVA 11's Heather Hinsey joins us now. So, Heather, what are the department's top priorities when it comes to staying open?
Well, Joe, Commissioner Valerie Davidson says programs that will stay open are those that affect life, health, and safety, and ones that are constitutionally mandated by the state, or programs that have to meet federal requirements. That means 24-hour facilities like the Pioneer Homes, the Juvenile Justice Center, and the Alaska Psychiatric Institute should not be impacted. The Bureau of Vital Statistics, however, is one that would close in a shutdown, which means there would be no one to issue birth or death certificates or marriage licenses. A shutdown would also affect the department's response to the ongoing opioid crisis in Alaska. Commissioner Davidson says the staff from the department have been meeting with communities to make sure they have the resources to fight heroin and other drug abuse problems.
But it's also some very basic things like distribution of the naloxone kits to communities to make sure that they have resources so that they can ensure that Alaskans who are overdosing can have their lives saved. Unfortunately, with the skeleton crew, we're not going to be able to be as mobile and be able to continue those services in the way that we would like to be able to.
Commissioner Davidson says the Department of Health and Social Services also provides grants to small businesses and nonprofits. The money goes out quarterly, and if the budget isn't passed, those agencies won't get paid on July 1st. Joe?
All right, Heather, thanks. Well, police are still looking for a murder suspect in a stabbing death that happened last Thursday. The stabbing took place on the sidewalk not far from the Brother Francis shelter and Beans Cafe. It's where we find KTVA 11's Lauren Maxwell. So, Lauren, that sidewalk has become a bit of a battleground when it comes to keeping people safe.
No doubt, Joe. You know, actually, this is a public sidewalk, but that hasn't stopped people from camping here overnight. Just a short time ago, it was lined with tents, people sleeping in the grass. But take a look around. At least for today, this place is a whole lot cleaner. Now, what's made the difference? I would say it is police. We went out with the CAP team today. They've been down here every day for the last 2 weeks. They're moving people off the sidewalk, encouraging them to sleep in the shelter. They're enforcing laws that say camping here is illegal, and furthermore, it isn't safe.
Overall, you know, the goal is to hopefully get them wanting to stay in the shelter and use those facilities because it's there and it's open for them. They just don't want to always follow the rules, so they don't always want to stay there.
Now, normally if someone is being asked to leave a homeless camp, they get 15 days to move on. But if they're camping on a public right-of-way like this sidewalk, they have to move immediately. Joe?
So, Lauren, where are people going?
Well, some of them do scatter outside to other places, but the shelter says they have seen their numbers go up in the last couple of weeks, so hopefully more people are sleeping there. One thing the officer told me is that this stabbing that we talked about earlier could even be making some people fearful of sleeping outdoors at night, so that could be a silver lining to that. Joe?
All right, that's Lauren Maxwell live outside Beans and Brother Francis tonight. Lauren, thanks. All right, checking the weather. Beautiful day. We'll continue. Here's Melissa with the first forecast. Hey, Melissa.
Yeah, Joe, so nice to see all that blue sky out there this afternoon. And yes, it will continue into the evening, even sneaking in here to the rest of the week. Take a look at the current conditions right now from our KTVA camera there in Midtown, looking toward downtown. Whole lot of blue sky, the most blue sky we've seen over the city here in a few days. We're up to 59. That's our high temperature so far for today. The wind is calm, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that temperature sneak up another degree or two before the night is over. We are seeing some isolated showers up into the mountains, and we'll continue to see thunderstorm activity in the higher elevations, mainly in the Talkeetna Mountains here over the next couple of days. So if you are planning on doing some hiking, while it may be clear, dry, and sunny here in town, as soon as you head up into those higher elevations, you do want to be prepared for that potential for a thunderstorm developing. Temperatures in the 50s and low 60s here across South Central, and again tonight, as should be beautiful all the way through that sunset, 55 at 11 o'clock. I'll look at your extended forecast here in just a bit, Joe.
All right, Melissa, thanks. There's an effort to lower the use of solitary confinement rooms in Alaska prisons, while the Department of Corrections says it is needed. And checking stocks, another record day for the Dow. You can see the numbers up 46 to 21,374. NASDAQ, though, down 25, S&P down 2, and now here's some stocks of local interest.
You're watching KTVA 11's First Take with Joe Vigil. Chief Meteorologist Carlos Fora. And Sports with Dave Goldman.
Esteban Santiago, accused of shooting and killing 5 people in Florida, is now wanted in Alaska as well. 27-year-old Santiago failed to appear via phone for a sentencing hearing in Anchorage for a domestic violence charge. As a result, the judge issued a warrant for his arrest. Santiago is currently being held for the January shooting in Fort Lauderdale. Law enforcement says he flew overnight to Florida, retrieved his check gun, then shot and killed 5 people and wounded another. An inmate at the Fairbanks Correctional Center and key witness in the Fairbanks 4 trial has died. 40-year-old Arlo Olson was rushed to Fairbanks Memorial Hospital 4 days ago after an apparent suicide attempt. Olson had been in custody since June 7th on multiple charges, including kidnapping and assault. In 1999, Olson testified in court that he saw George Freeze, Kevin Pease, Marvin Roberts, and Eugene Vent assaulting a man that night that John Hartman was fatally beaten, according to the Fairbanks 4 website. This is the 3rd inmate death of 2017. The ACLU in Alaska, Alaska State Department of Corrections are teaming up to lower the use of solitary confinement in jails and prisons. KTVA 11's Steffi Lee is live outside the Anchorage jail to explain why. Steffi.
Well, Joe, one of the reasons that we learned about here at the Anchorage Correctional Center here today is that inmates end up in solitary confinement because they ask for it. And another reason are medical issues and problems with fighting with others. Bruce Busby, who's the director of institutions, says solitary confinement can be harmful to a person's psychological health. He says that's one of the reasons why they've invited New York University's Segregation Solutions team to get their input on what the state can do better. This week, they're touring Spring Creek Correctional Center and Goose Creek Correctional Center as well. Busby says after having these conversations, he hopes the state can offer inmates other options that can keep them out of solitary confinement.
How it is now, an inmate can request segregation, and rather than argue with them, we'll let them go to seg, and then we won't talk to them again for another 30 days. That's when they're due the next hearing. So we're going to put more checks in the way along those 30 days to try and get them to come out.
And coming up at 6, we'll show you what's in the works here at the Anchorage Correctional Complex that leaders hope can be another option to solitary confinement.
All right, that's Steffi Lee, live outside the Anchorage jail tonight. Well, today, many Alaskans have been waiting for when you can start using ride-sharing services like Lyft and Uber.
And if you have the chance to stay up late tonight, I think it's going to be a beautiful sunset. We'll see a nice sunrise tomorrow as well at 4:21, 19 hours and 18 minutes of daylight. I'll look at that extended forecast right after the break.
From the Alaska Weather Center, here's Melissa Fry.
Not a bad afternoon to get out and about, enjoy the dry conditions, the slightly warmer temperatures. Looks like some people cleaning up Point Warrensoff there today, where we're starting to see things coming up in bloom. A pretty decent day all around. Now, if you're up early, perhaps you noticed the rain. We had another round of morning showers move through the city. Nothing technically out at Ted Stevens where we keep track of the rainfall, but up on Hillside, we got a little bit of light rain in the first half of the day. But since then, we've continued to see those clouds decreasing with each hour, more and more blue sky as we head into this afternoon. And that trend, it sticks with us tonight and into tomorrow as well. We are seeing some showers developing across the mountains, including down into the southwestern part of the state, across the Alaska Range, and then down into the Talkeetna Mountains as well. And that's also going to be a trend that we're going to see here over the next several days. So don't be surprised when you see those clouds building up over the mountains, some of that spilling down into the valley likely tonight, but otherwise seeing dry conditions when you get down into Anchorage and across most of the Kenai Peninsula. So those of you up near the Talkeetna Mountains, again, that's the best chances for seeing any thunderstorm activity. You can see a couple cells developing there just to the north and to the east of Wasilla and Palmer tonight. Otherwise, not a whole lot going on as you head out into the Gulf, into the Pacific, and we are going to see high pressure moving in. The jet stream had been bringing storm systems here into South Central, but now that's taking that down to the Pacific Northwest. So these storms that are out here in the Pacific, they're headed south rather than to the north. We'll see high pressure moving in here to South Central, and that'll dry us out. It'll get rid of the cloud cover for the most part, aside from those mountain storms developing, and it'll dry us out as well, and it's going to help to bring up the temperatures. So warming, drying trend here over the next couple of days. That's true for South Central, but it's really true for much of the state. So high temperatures tomorrow. For those of you in the Kenai Peninsula and the Prince William Sound, you'll notice more 6s on the map than 5s. We're going to see low to mid 60s, even 65 in Seward tomorrow, 62 in Whittier. Girdwood headed back into the upper 50s. Again, seeing a few clouds to start the day, but mostly sunny into the afternoon, except for the mountains where you'll see those afternoon clouds and potentially some isolated showers developing as well. For those of you in the valley, check this out. 70 in Talkeetna, 72 in Willow. High temperatures nearly 70 degrees tomorrow in both Wasilla and in Palmer. Same story out near Glen Allen. So sunny to start, but again, do be prepared for those afternoon storms developing if you have any plans to head up into the higher elevations. Right here in Anchorage, we'll start out in the mid-40s, but it's a lot of sunshine all the way through 7 o'clock. High temperature up to 65 degrees, and this trend, it sticks with us for a little bit longer. Joel, have a look at that 7-day here in just a bit.
Looks good. All right, Melissa, thanks. Well, you may start seeing ride-sharing companies in Alaska as early as tomorrow. Governor Walker is expected to sign a bill Thursday afternoon that will immediately open the door for businesses like Uber and Lyft to operate within the state. Lyft representatives say this is something they've lobbied hard for, and they have drivers in Anchorage, Juneau, and Fairbanks ready to go as soon as the governor takes the final step.
We've been shown to provide increased transportation options, whether it's people looking to connect with public transportation, people going out at night, looking for a safe way to get home. We provide a lot of services that help people get to where they need to go.
Lyft says ride-sharing services can have a positive impact on public safety, reducing alcohol-related driving arrests and deaths. Well, a big improvement project coming to Ted Stevens International Airport could mean more noise pollution where some of you live. Starting in 2018, the airport and DOT plan to shut down the north-south runway. Now, they say poor pavement conditions are becoming a problem, and they need to widen and update the taxiway to meet FAA standards. During construction, all air traffic will be shifted east and west. There's a public meeting tomorrow night from 5 to 7 at the Coast International Inn. People can get more information about the proposed improvements and potential impacts. A mystery is blooming here in Anchorage. Why Downtown Garden has many guessing and wondering. Every year, Anchorage plants approximately 1,000 flowers across the city, but there is one garden bed unlike the rest. The aptly named Mystery Garden is planted with a different design every year, and the subject is top secret until the blooms reveal the new image. Now this summer, the floral mural is made up of bright orange marigolds and purple alyssums. Now even after 7 hours of planting, Muni gardeners still wouldn't reveal the topic. They say it's something you have to come see for yourself.
It's pretty fun getting to come out here and draw it out and then see it all come together and really hoping that it does come together.
And you'll find the Mystery Garden driving south from downtown Anchorage on Minnesota Drive just after 15th Avenue. Is it a star? A sun?
It looks like a sun.
It looks like a sun.
That's amazing. 80,000 flowers.
Yeah, no kidding.
A lot of flowers.
I want to know what it is, but it's a sun something.
I think
maybe
so. Yeah.
or another.
There's
Speaking of sun,
right.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of it out there, a lot of blue sky tonight. We'll see it the next couple days. High temperatures getting back into the mid-60s, which is technically slightly above average and something we haven't seen here in about a week, so that should feel nice. Still down into the mid-40s overnight tonight. Saturday we'll see increasing clouds, and each afternoon we'll likely see some storms developing up into the mountains. So again, I just want to mention, if you're planning on doing any hiking, just beware that in the afternoon you might run into some rain and some gusty winds. Sunday is looking beautiful this weekend. Sunny, still in the 60s, and next week we have a few clouds headed our direction, but no 50s for the next 7-day stretch. So I think we're turning a new leaf. It's going to feel a little bit more like summer.
How about midnight sun?
Midnight sun,
over
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything that indicated midnight, but
I think that's
I guess I'll have to
guess.
go over there and look.
You've got to go
That's
check
what they
it
want
out.
you to do. All right, Melissa, thanks. KTVA 11, of course, has stayed on top of the sports dome that collapsed here in Anchorage. Well, many of you have complained about getting your membership money back. Man, people want to know if the dome will ever open again. Well, we found out some interesting new details today about all of that. Dave Laval is working on that story, and we'll tell you what he found today coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. That does it for 5 o'clock. Hope to see you back here at 6. Good night, everyone.
See you then.